tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds all were watching over the sheep that night, when a guiding star shone from heaven, and they followed that holy light. Everybody go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. They found the lonely manger, the humble Christ was born, and God sent out salvation on that blessed Christmas morn. Everybody go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. He brought with him forgiveness. He lived to show us the way. He came to redeem all creation and to wash all our sins away. Hallelujah. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on down that Jesus Christ is born. Hallelujah. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. That Jesus Christ is
Welcome to the Beau Show, the home of faith, family, and freedom. I hope you enjoyed my soulful rendition of the classic Christmas song, Go Tell It on the Mountain. I heard one of my favorite artists, Garth Brooks, do this arrangement, and being from Memphis, Tennessee, I wanted to bring some Memphis soul to the song, kind of like he put in a fair amount of country twang. So today, I will tell you a little bit about the song and what you might call the anatomy of a song, just to show you how I put it together, and hopefully it will have you in full Christmas spirit. As I told you in my last show, Christmas has a rich tradition in the spirit of giving, rooted in Christian faith. And as an artist, I hope that in sharing my musical gifts with you, that you will also pay it forward and share the video, since music is transformational. I will show you how to share it at the end of this show. Go Tell It on the Mountain is an African-American spiritual song, arranged by John Wesley Work Jr., dating back to at least 1865. It is considered a Christmas carol as its lyrics cover the subject of the nativity of Jesus' birth. While many singers and gospel artists have recorded and performed this song, Peter, Paul, and Mary recorded it in 1963, with the lyrics directing attention to the book of Exodus and using the phrase, "Let my people go," with veiled tones of the civil rights movement. For those of you who go to church this time of year, you have probably sung this Christmas carol, and you probably noticed that it has a certain amount of swing to it. The rhythm is a swing tempo, so it doesn't have that typical standard feel of Christmas carol repertoire. I always noticed as a kid that when we would sing it, it had a certain bluesiness to it. And being from Memphis, that stood out to me. When I was in the adult choir, we did a Christmas concert in Memphis at the legendary Orpheum Theater with blues and soul singers such as Reba Russell, Rufus and Carla Thomas, and Olanda Draper and the Associates. So I'm used to this style of music. Now, it's a far cry from Jingle Bells, but that's okay because it tells a different story. After all, a song is made up of two major components, the melody and the lyrics, which come together in a union to form the song. These lyrics are the epitome of what Christmas is all about. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. John Wesley Works' publishing of the song spawned performances at Fisk University in Nashville, where students would sing it from building to building on Christmas morning. The choruses and subject matter refer to the gospel accounts of Matthew and Luke regarding the birth of Christ. But this notion of going and telling it on the mountain refers to the Old Testament of Isaiah 42, praising God for acts of deliverance, literally and metaphorically. However, it also underscores Matthew 28:19, which says, "Go and make disciples of all nations," and thus the missionary impetus of the church. The reason we go tell it on the mountain, and not just at home, is to compel a person to get out of their comfort zone and spread the news. There are other variations in the lyrics that sing, "Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is Lord," as well as "Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus lives again," which is more appropriate for Easter. The mountain has a certain significance in history, especially in the Judeo-Christian faiths. The mountain is where Moses had to climb to receive the 10 Commandments and see the Promised Land. In the Gospel, Jesus transfigured on the mountain and also delivered the very famous Sermon on the Mount, in which Jesus talked about letting your light shine. The mountain often was referred to as the holy presence of God. In the Old Testament, the mountain was revered with such sanctity that it was set apart, implying not just everyone could go up the mountain to be in such a holy place. Psalm 24:3 asks, "Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place?" But with Jesus, God created that bridge between his holiness and man. He came in humble human form over 2,000 years ago. And when that happened, the separation between lowly man and God on the mountain became unified. This also directs us to Easter, when Jesus ripped the curtain of the temple, once again signifying a bridge, that God had been revealed through his Son, a man. Therefore, the mountain was no longer a place for only the holiest, but rather for everyone to be able to get up high and be able to proclaim what had happened. You can see more clearly from the mountain, things that we just can't see when we are at surface level. But it also means that our voices are louder and can be heard more clearly. This notion of going and telling it on the mountain has a great deal of significance both in the Jewish and Christian faith. But I also think that it beckons man's courage and provides motivation. That we are not designed to be sedentary, lifeless people. We are constantly in motion, and we can go forwards or we can go backwards. A faithless person is stuck in a day-to-day life that has no trajectory to it. It is a life without meaning, that our birth and our death are just days on a calendar. But with Jesus' birth comes a message of hope and purpose. You may recall the book by Rick Warren, The Purpose-Driven Life. That's what it's all about. We all have the existential question of asking why we are here and what is our purpose. The answer is there if we are willing to seek it. While many Christmas carols are songs of serenity, peace, and reflection, and perhaps reminders of what happened in Bethlehem, Go Tell It on the Mountain has given a cause and a mission and a purpose. It has a goal to it. That is the missionary aspect of the church. Our lives are not designed to be meaningless and purposeless. In Ben Stein's documentary, Expelled, No Intelligence Allowed, he interviews one of the premier atheists of our time, Professor Richard Dawkins. Dawkins is undoubtedly a brilliant man and provides his reasons for not believing in a God. Take a listen.
Hello, Professor Dawkins. How are you? I'm Ben Stein. I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You have written that God is a psychotic delinquent invented by mad, deluded people.
No, I didn't say quite that. I said something rather better than that.
Oh, well, please tell us what you said. Please tell us what you said.
Well, I would have to read it from the book.
No, please.
The God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction. Jealous and proud of it. A petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak. A vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser. A misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully.
So that's what you think of God?
Yeah.
How about if people believed in a God of infinite lovingness and kindness and forgiveness and generosity, sort of like the modern day God? Why spoil it for them? Why not just let them have their fun and enjoy it?
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I write a book, people can read it if they want to. I believe that it is a liberating thing to free yourself from primitive superstition.
So religion is a primitive superstition?
Oh, I think it is, yes.
So you believe it's liberating to tell people that there is no God?
I think a lot of people, when they give up God, feel a great sense of release and freedom.
Why do you think that? I mean, what's your dad? What's your scientist? What's your dad?
I think, well, I've had a lot of letters saying that, and I've...
There are 8 billion people in the world, Dr. Dawkins. How many letters have you had?
No, I haven't done that. That's quite true.
Professor Dawkins seemed so convinced that God doesn't exist that I wondered if he would be willing to put a number on it.
Well, it's hard to put a figure on it, but I mean, I'd put it as something like, 99% against or something.
Well, how do you know it's 99% against, say, and not 97%?
No, I did. You asked me to put a figure on it, and I'm not comfortable putting a figure on it. I just think it's very unlikely.
What? But you couldn't put a number on it?
No, of course not. No.
So it could be 49%.
Well, it would be. I mean, I think it's unlikely, and it's quite far from 50%.
How do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I put an argument in the book.
Well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
Why do you use the word who? You see, you immediately beg the question by using the word who.
Well, then how did it get created?
Well, by a very slow process.
Well, how did it start?
Nobody knows how it started. We know the kind of event that it must have been. We know the sort of event that must have happened for the origin of life.
And what was that?
It was the origin of the first self-replicating molecule.
Right. How did that happen?
I told you we don't know.
So you have no idea how it started?
No. Nor has anybody.
Nor has anyone else. What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?
It could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology, and designed a form of life that they seeded onto perhaps this planet. Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility. And I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
Wait a second. Richard Dawkins thought intelligent design might be a legitimate pursuit?
And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe. Well, but that higher intelligence would itself have had to have come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. That's the point.
So Professor Dawkins was not against intelligent design, just certain types of designers, such as God.
So the Hebrew God, the God of the Old Testament, he doesn't exist in your view?
I found this to be such a fascinating documentary because when you put intelligent people like this to the test, they will admit the limits of their knowledge, But yet they have expelled the idea that God or Jesus could have been the cause or reason we are here. The most narcissistic thing that we could do is presume that we know everything and go down swinging to prove that we have no designer. What Dawkins has made a career of is going and telling it on the mountain that Jesus and God are not Lord, that they are non-existent. And even if they did exist, they are horrible. He's doing the opposite of what the song proclaims. When Stein poses the question of, well, professor, what if you die and you see God face to face? And he's like, what have you been doing with yourself in all your life? Dawkins quotes atheist and mathematician Bertrand Russell, who asked, well, sir, why did you take such pains to hide yourself? But has he taken great pains to hide himself? Have you witnessed a rainbow? Have you seen the planets and the solar system? Just a smidge closer or further away from the sun, and we either burn up or we freeze to death, allowing no life whatsoever. Dawkins, like many, rejects the notion of the God of the Old and New Testaments because he sees only the parts he doesn't like and attributes it to the depravity of human imagination. Somehow he finds rejecting the idea of God liberating. And if you have a nihilistic view of the world, I suppose it is freeing to know that there are zero consequences to anything you ever do, but that also wipes out the point of love as well, because love would just be a meaningless construct. But can we explain love? No, not hardly. In the Broadway show Les Miserables, which means the miserable ones, there is a lyric, to love another person is to see the face of God. To me, what is far more liberating and comforting is knowing that there is a designer who put me here for a reason. To live a life that only ends in decay 6 feet down in the ground is sad. Here lies so-and-so. His life was, well, pointless. But the truth is that we all have free will. Our lives are filled with choices, and one of those will be whom we choose to serve. As Bob Dylan once sang, it may be the devil, it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Our culture conditions us to serve ourselves or money or material wealth, as if that will somehow give us fulfilling lives. But think of how many people die rich and depressed and alone. You can't take it with you. So where is the richness in life? Well, it's not in possessions, that's for certain. Those are just momentary pleasures. If we remembered what Christmas is all about, we would start to think about true meaning, about the importance of faith and family and freedom. We are quite blessed in America and much of the Western world to be able to practice our faith freely, thanks to our founding fathers. We can go tell it on the mountain, but in many other countries, you can be imprisoned or killed for that. So we have to shout it from the mountaintops so that they can hear us. Remember that the song indirectly refers to being released from bondage. Choosing a purpose-driven life is to free yourself from the shackles of death. It's a release. But to go up the mountain means you have to be willing to confront your existence. You have to be willing to admit that there is something bigger than yourself, and that your actions have both meaning and consequence. In a secular progressive society, all of that purpose and meaning gets stripped away. People might be using social media as their digital mountaintop, so to speak, but that's bringing the mountain to you rather than you climbing the mountain. We have made the price of speech so scot-free and the reach so far and wide that you can say anything without any reflection. It becomes word garbage. That's not to say that many have not used their little stumps to make the world better. But we treat our mountaintops rather frivolously. So this Christmas, I encourage you to think about what it all really means, what your mountain is to climb, and most importantly, what you're going to tell on that mountain, and to whom. If you enjoyed my rendition of the song, click here at the bottom or in the comments section below, where you will find the shareable link. Merry Christmas from all of us at Epoch TV and NTD.